Rain hammered the train station roof like thousands of tiny fists, each drop echoing through the wide metal shelter. Amelia stood beneath the flickering fluorescent light, shivering, pulling her thin jacket tighter around her shoulders. The night breeze sliced through the gaps in the walls, cold enough to sting her skin. Her socks were drenched from the puddles she'd stepped in during her walk from the diner. It was nearly midnight, and she had exactly $10 left to her name. She opened her faded wallet, its seams frayed, the fabric worn smooth from years of use. Inside was the last bill she'd been saving for emergencies. But when you're poor, every day is an emergency. Her rent was due in 48 hours. She hadn't eaten since noon. Her electricity bill was sitting unpaid on her kitchen counter. Still, she held the $10 bill as gently as if it were something fragile. The train was delayed again. The announcement crackled over the speaker, barely understandable through the static. She sighed and leaned against the cold steel column behind her. Her entire body ached from the double shift she had just pulled. The diner had been packed, people ordering, laughing, leaving without tipping. One man had even yelled at her because the coffee wasn't hot enough. She tried to brush it off. She always tried, because that's what survivors do. As she stared at the empty tracks, she noticed a tall figure in the distance. A man, moving strangely, half stumbling, half limping. At first, she ignored him. Big cities had plenty of strange people wandering around at night. You learned not to stare. But then he got closer. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't homeless. He wasn't threatening. He was a broken bar panicked. His hair clung to his forehead, dripping rainwater onto the ground. His clothes, as though soaked, were surprisingly neat, not the kind you'd see on someone living on the streets. His shoes were polished, but now splattered with mud. He kept patting his coat pockets, his jeans, even his sleeves, growing more frantic each time he came up empty. He looked up suddenly, meeting Amelia's eyes. "Hey, excuse me," he said, his voice unsteady. Do you have a minute?" Amelia tensed. She took a small step back, unsure. But something in his expression wasn't dangerous, just desperate. "Yes," she answered cautiously. He swallowed hard, rainwater dripping from his chin. "Yeah, broken bar. I swear I'm not trying to bother you, but someone stole my wallet. I just noticed it wasn't in my pocket when I got here. I don't have anything on me, no ID, no card, nothing." He glanced toward the tracks, shoulders slumping with shame. "I need to get home. I just need enough for a ticket. I'll pay you back, I promise." Amelia blinked. Her first instinct was to reject him. She had nothing to spare. $10 wasn't just money. It was her food for tomorrow, her bus fare, her safety net. And he ate a broken bar. She studied him carefully. He looked exhausted, not shifty, not manipulative, yet just tired and cold and embarrassed. The kind of embarrassment that came from suddenly being vulnerable in a world that didn't care. "Can I see your phone?" she asked. "Maybe call someone?" He shook his head. It was in the same pocket as the wallet. "Gone." "Do you know your credit card number?" He gave a helpless laugh. "I'm not that smart." She felt her defenses weaken a little. "I can give you my number," he offered quickly. "You can call me tomorrow. I'll send the money back immediately." Most people would have walked away by now, but Amelia had always been different. Even when she struggled, something in her heart refused to harden. She couldn't stand seeing someone alone in the rain, helpless. "Where do you need to go?" she asked quietly. "Northridge," he replied. "Yeah, I know it's far. The ticket's around $8. $8, leaving her with $2 wasn't enough for anything, not even a cheap sandwich, not for the ride to work, not for anything that kept her alive. But his eyes, a broken bar. They weren't asking, they were pleading. Amelia let out a long, shaky breath. "Hold on." She opened her wallet slowly, staring at the $10 bill like it was the last piece of hope she owned. "Are you sure?" the man whispered, noticing her hesitation. She looked up at him, rain splattering on the concrete between them. "No," she admitted, "but sometimes people need help more than I need the money." His lips parted, stunned. She held out the 10. His hand hovered over it, trembling. "Yeah, I can't take this if you need it." "I'll manage," she said softly. He finally took it, holding the bill as if it were something precious. "You don't even know my name," he whispered. She shook her head. "Doesn't matter." The train screeched into the station. He stepped toward it, then turned around one last time. "What's your name?" he asked. "Amelia," she replied, brushing wet hair behind her ear. He nodded slowly, as if memorizing it. "Thank you, Amelia. I won't forget this." Then he stepped onto the train. As the doors slid shut, he pressed his hand to the window, eyes still on her, glowing with a gratitude she didn't understand. The train pulled away, its lights disappearing into the night. Amelia exhaled shakily. She felt lighter, broken bar, and heavier at the same time. She had lost her last $10 but gained something she couldn't quite describe. She didn't know that the man she helped wasn't some broke stranger. He was Noah Bennett, a millionaire whose face she had unknowingly wiped down with napkins at the diner months ago when he spilled coffee on himself. She didn't know that he wasn't just grateful, he was deeply changed by her, and she definitely didn't know a broken bar. He was coming back for her, and when he did, nothing in her life would ever be the same. The next morning, Amelia woke to the sound of her alarm buzzing angrily on the nightstand. She groaned, rolled over, and slapped it off. Her body felt like it had been run over by a truck. It was double shifts, stress, hunger, and a night spent in a cold train station were not kind to the human body. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. No humming Phrygia because it had been unplugged for weeks. No heater because the electricity was off. No comforting morning routine because routines required stability, and she had none. She sat up, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. A sharp pang hit her stomach. She wasn't just tired, she was starving. In the kitchen, she opened her cupboard. 1 can of beans, half a bag of rice, a single packet of instant noodles. "That's a broken bar breakfast?" she whispered weakly to herself. But even the noodles were a luxury. She had no electricity to boil water, so she grabbed the can of beans and ate them cold, sitting on the edge of her bed, shivering lightly. Her phone vibrated with a reminder, rent due in 2 days. Her heart sank. She grabbed her jacket and headed to work early, hoping maybe, just maybe, she'd be offered a few extra hours. She needed every dime. The diner was buzzing when she stepped inside. Her manager, Fran, a tired-looking woman with sharp eyebrows and sharper words, spotted Amelia immediately. "You're early," Fran grunted. "I was hoping you might need me to open," Amelia asked, forcing a smile. Fran stared at her, lips pursed, then sighed. "Fine, you can take over table prep." A victory, a small one, but she'd take it. As she began wiping down menus and refilling ketchup bottles, she couldn't shake the memory of the man from last night, the stranger with the soaked clothes and a panicked expression. She wondered if he'd gotten home safely. She wondered if he'd remember to call. She wondered why she cared at all. By noon, the diner was filled with customers, couples, construction workers, office employees, a broken bar, and then, unexpectedly, a pair of impeccably dressed women who looked far too wealthy to be eating greasy diner food. Amelia approached their table with her usual polite smile. "Hi, what can I get for you today?" The woman with diamond earrings raised a brow. "Is Noah still not here?" Amelia blinked. "Sorry, Noah Bennett," the woman repeated impatiently. "He said he'd meet us here to finalize the charity brunch plans." A strange shiver worked its way down Amelia's spine. That Nemi, a broken bar, Bennett, a broken bar. She'd heard it before, right? Somewhere, a broken bar. Before she could respond, Fran swooped in. "Ladies, welcome back." Noah called earlier, said he'd be running late. The women sighed dramatically. "He's always running late." Amelia backed away, confused. Was that the same Noah, the stranger from the train station? Noah, broken bar, impossible. The man she'd met didn't look like a millionaire. He looked like someone who'd been drowning in rain and bad luck. She pushed the thought aside and dove back into work. Hours passed. Her feet ached. Her back throbbed. She was scraping by on fumes. Near the end of her shift, Fran handed her a small envelope. "What's this?" Amelia asked. "Your tips," Fran replied, "and a note." Amelia frowned and opened the envelope. There were a few dollars inside, nothing unusual, but the note was handwritten on expensive paper. "Thank you for your kindness last night. Please meet me here at 6 p.m. A.N. Her heart skipped. Noah? It couldn't be. She tucked the note into her apron and tried to calm her nerves. By the time 6 p.m. approached, the diner had quieted down. Soft music played in the background. The setting sun cast a warm glow through the windows. Then the door opened. The man from the train station walked in, a clean, dry, wearing a tailored charcoal gray suit that fit him like it had been made specifically for his body. His hair was neatly combed, his expression serious yet warm. He looked like a different person. No, he looked like someone important. His eyes landed on her immediately. He smiled. Amelia, frozen. He approached the counter slowly. "Hi," he said softly. "Amelia, right?" She nodded uncertainly. "That's a broken bar, me." He laughed awkwardly. "Sorry, this probably seems strange. Last night I was a mess. Today I look normal again. I swear I am the same guy." "You look very a broken bar different," she said honestly. "I should." He chuckled. "I'm usually not standing in the rain with my wallet stolen." She blushed. "I'm glad you got home safe." He reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet to present this time along with a crisp $100 bill. "This is for you," he said, placing it gently on the counter. Amelia stared at the bill like it was glowing. "Yeah, I can't take that." "You gave me your last $10. He replied. "You didn't hesitate. You didn't ask who I was. You just a broken bar helped me. Let me repay that kindness." She shook her head. "I didn't help you for a reward." "And that," he said softly, "is exactly why you deserve it." Her chest tightened with emotion, but she pushed the money back toward him. "I can't." Noah watched her carefully. Really watched her. He saw the exhaustion in her eyes, the thinness in her cheeks, the way her clothes hung a little too loose. "You can," he said firmly. "And there's more." She hesitated. "A broken bar more?" "Yes. I wanted to ask if you'd join me for dinner tonight." Her heart nearly stopped. "Dinner? With you?" He nodded. "To thank you properly, and because a broken bar well. I want to know more about the person who saved my night." "Saved his night?" "Her?" She didn't feel like someone who saved anything. "I don't think I'm the kind of person you will." "You're exactly the kind of person I want to spend time with," he interrupted gently. She swallowed hard, overwhelmed. "Yeah, broken bar. I'm not dressed for dinner," she admitted in a small voice. "That's okay. I didn't ask for fancy," he replied. "I asked for you." Amelia felt her cheeks burn again. She glanced over at Fran, who was pretending not to stare at them. "Go," Fran mouthed silently, waving her away. Amelia looked back at Noah. "Okay," she whispered. "Just give me 5 minutes." Noah smiled genuinely, warmly, like seeing her agreement had just made his entire day. As she stepped into the back room to wash up, her hands trembled slightly. She had no idea who he really was. She had no idea why he cared so much. She had no idea that her life was about to change in ways she could never have predicted. All she knew was that for the first time in a long Willie hope didn't feel like a luxury. It felt like a possibility. Over the next few weeks, Amelia's world transformed. She used part of the money to fix her apartment, pay off old bills, and stock her fridge for the first time in months. But Noah, he didn't disappear after handing her the check. He showed up almost every day. Sometimes he brought her coffee. Sometimes he just came to talk. Sometimes he asked about her dreams, the ones she never told anyone. Amelia found herself laughing again, believing again, hoping again. But then one evening, while the two of them walked near the river, Noah removed his coat and placed it around her shoulders. "You know," he said quietly, "I've met thousands of people, in boardrooms, at conferences, on TV shows, a broken bar, but none of them stood in the rain and gave away their last $10. Amelia swallowed. "Anyone would have helped." "No," he said firmly. "Most wouldn't." He turned to face her completely. "You changed something in me that night. You reminded me that kindness still exists, a broken bar, and that money doesn't measure worth." Amelia felt her throat tighten. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. Then Noah took a breath, nervous for the first time. "I don't want this to be the end of your story, or mine. I want to help you build the life you deserve. A broken bar, and I want to be part of it, if you'll let me." Her heart pounded, not because of the money, not because he was a millionaire, but because he saw her, the tired, struggling, hopeful version no one else ever cared about. Amelia stepped closer, the river lights shimmering around them,